Uh, so I'll first start with about me, who I am. I am like very much a Asha volunteer since last 12 or 13 years. And have seen many phases through Asha, and I have played many roles within organization. So how do I describe myself? So my Asha journey has been about a social activism which is basically against the digital and knowledge divide in the society. I call myself IT activist, but it's basically what I'm fighting is a digital and knowledge divide in the society. I'll describe myself as next point says I am a learner. I mean, I learned a lot in Asha, and Asha gave me the space to experiment. So then, I'm a creative thinker. I have lots of ideas about doing the things. I mean, innovations, doing new things, doing the same things in new ways, and then I get involved into action. So I'm saying I'm a learner, creative thinker, and doer as Asha volunteer. So I mean, many things I'm writing here, I see them as a natural growth curve of Asha volunteers. It's not just me. If anybody is like open in Asha environment and thinking what's going around and what should be done, then I think the volunteers should have growth curve like me. So I mean, we represent the organization which says, I mean, when any social problem is told to us, our first reaction is, oh, wait, let me write email to other volunteers. So I started volunteering through emailing groups, which Asha ran 12 years back. And it was exciting every morning, seeing new issues, new people talking about them, and the community trying to resolve them by working together. So that's where I picked up the volunteering. It was through virtual medium and through connecting with other volunteers. So so by very nature of our organization and activism, I started to develop these ideas that I believe that this is a networking society, information society, and it's human creativity and knowledge that drives the society and economy. That is the ultimately useful thing in solving the problems we have at our disposal. So that forms the core of my thinking if I have to describe who am I. And every time the activist is asked question, how do you make your living? So I am saying I make my living by strategizing. So I mean, whatever knowledge I have picked up throughout my journey in Asha, I use that knowledge for professional reasons as well. So I'll move on to the next slide. I have talked enough about who am I. This shows my journey with Asha. I was simple Asha volunteer, then wanted to do some good things. Then I became a project contact person, went on meeting n number of people around in Mumbai, then become Asha Mumbai's coordinator. That was probably a first small power position inside Asha's networks. And then I was looking to give up a corporate job and get into full-time activism. And I was looking for the projects which would suit my temperament of activism. So what I found was, if I gain some power socially, I mean, by connecting with the community called Asha, why can't same power be passed on to people, especially the people who want to get into social leadership and who are not part of this world? Why don't we connect them to us? So whatever connected more people, got them in, was something exciting for me. So naturally I transformed myself into IT activist who was connecting to n number of people, and that's where I became Asha Fellow. So I quit my job, got the Asha Fellowship for Innovation of using IT in the social sector, and then started campaigning on ground. From Asha Fellow, when I was campaigning on the ground, I realized just being fellow is not enough. I mean, there is a lot of world beyond the ground on which I was working. So, and unless that world was moved, my working on grassroots didn't mean a lot of impact. So I again evolved into a change maker. So the guy who will try to move all the stakeholders uh, and get them along and ask them to act beyond people and our own Asha teams and bring in the change. So it's a very specific role. And from change maker, I say I can lead the movement, I can lead the action. So that's where you are thinking about the entire system or a part of a system which you are trying to change. So this has been my journey with Asha. And for me, Asha has been a social virtual university. Whatever I have learned and picked up, that's through our Asha colleagues and Asha volunteers. I'm saying it again and again. It has been a natural brainstorming space. If I have to think through a situation, I have to learn, I have to find the solutions. The easiest thing I go is I log on to Asha and connect to other people and start brainstorming. And then obviously it's a socio-political movement uh, which first brings hope to people. Then hope is not enough. Then we start finding the knowledge, and through that knowledge we start to solve the social problems. And then it's a brand and power. Asha has been a kind of recognition which can be used outside in the social sector and movements. It's a brand which is taken seriously, which gives the legitimacy to people who are otherwise be standalone, left alone individuals, and gives them a power to leverage further. So Asha has been playing all these roles for me, and since I'm speaking in Asha 22, where I'm connecting with other Asha folks, saying these things about who am I, my journey with Asha, what does Asha mean to me, is very important, and it could be a good learning for new people who are joining Asha, what they can achieve by connecting to our community. So that was about me, and then I come to part two, that is about my struggle. So when I started the grassroots activism, I went to people and we brainstormed. I was working in New Bombay villages to begin with, and got the youth together, and every time we discussed what are the social problems and what could be done. So the core of the action which required there was we had to have some knowledge about how to solve the problem, and we need people backing us in terms of resources, in terms of connecting us to power. So I, before the word social networking became buzzword through Facebook and Twitters, I was using it on the ground because I had really to do excellent public relations and network with so many people across the board to use the knowledge we have collected together to solve the problem, to actually implement in the action and get some solutions going. So knowledge and social networking became the way we operated. Now, where did IT stand in all this? So IT was a medium and method. Even if we didn't have computers, we could still we could still use knowledge and do social networking. But IT gave a medium and method to all this. So when we gathered in our village centers which we had formed. What we could do is using the interfaces we could connect to people which were difficult to access. It's like simple email writing skills. Tell people what do you want to do and ask them to come on the board. So and again sharing the problem with community through very smart and neatly made presentations in Marathi, which were our basic unit of knowledge, I'll say, and show them to people, make them think, and get them involved. So what we did is we conducted mass IT literacy camps for the community, and those literacy camps were actually the brainstorming sessions. They were not just meant for people to go on the computer and play paint and music. So we use that entertainment factor, but kind of mass IT literacy we designed, it was for connecting people to their problems, showing them problems in a mirror image on computer, and then social networking. So this agenda became very popular with the youth. We had like right now the movement goes on, but since I'm tracing my journey, I'll say we had around 18 villages in no time coming to us with a strong organization of 1200 young people in New Bombay, which joined the movement, and it was a visible force. I mean, 1200 people joining the group of 4 people trying to do things is a huge success. And we started thinking that yes, this is the way to do things. So with the intention, whatever intention we had started, we had achieved them in no time, and then we went on further and further to solve other problems and access other places other than Navi Mumbai where we were initially working. So my grassroots activism is has been about these things. Anil Shaigram is my partner in the whole enterprise, and what we did, Ashoka gave us the recognition. Ashoka gave us a fellowship for social entrepreneurship for using IT to solve people's problems. So this is about my Asha fellowship. I started thinking that why can't we have an information base for each village, and whatever we were doing informally, why can't it be done more systematically on computer at a scalable, replicable level. So my Asha fellowship was about creating an information base in a village, using on social issues, obviously, using village youth as volunteers and creating a web interface. There we countered the methods of all the traditional social organizations which were working. We were more of a network than organization. We identified the issue, connected. We didn't just gather people and go for morcha somewhere as the traditional or the agitation somewhere as the traditional Indian social organizations do. We network to solve issue whatever we could do. So one basic element of the whole thing was tapping the resources for the transformation. I'll give you the example. Suppose there is a scheme like Narega. The basic problem I observed in Narega was the information design was pretty bad. People didn't have any information what Narega was. Narega, for our audience, it's a government scheme which gives 100 days wages guarantee it's not a scheme, it's an act which gives you 100 days wages guarantee for rural households. It's like you can demand the work and you can get the minimum work, it's your social security. But schemes and acts like these remain on paper because there is no information design, information exchange between people. So I said in my fellowship, why can't I create an information base in which uh, there will be a simple database of people who are unemployed, and that database becomes a, a tool for negotiating with the administration. So the idea was very popular, and villagers gathered in numbers to listen to our presentations. And I used to share with them how IT in very Marathi, in very simple language. For example, if uh, I have to explain them how database works, I'll show them shadi.com. So once I show shadi.com and the pictures of brides and grooms on a database or from Shadi database are on screen, and I ask people their natural reactions, what should we do next? Where should I click? I don't have to teach them database and IT anymore. They would simply pick up, yeah, even if they were IT literate and not information savvy, they would simply pick up the idea and they would take it on from there. So my Asha fellowship brought in so many people like me, my replicas from villages, who are new social leadership, young people rising through the movement. So it was again a very interesting phase in my activism, when through my Asha fellowship I could actually get people. I have very interesting documentation. I'll post it online, and people can, the volunteers can go through that later. I mean, last 10 years, if you're activist, you have to do RTI and Narega. If you don't do that, you are missing on something. So, so my journey through RTI and Narega has been like other activists in some ways, and the IT innovation made it different than the way other activists handled it. So first, right to information brought the information from stakeholders in social development to people. We all know that. I'll not waste time on that. Then National Rural Employment Guarantee was the next stage, where that information, when connected to the government money, it meant work and money for people. So that information was connected to the financial benefits when Narega was announced. So I took up Narega campaigns in backward regions and backward areas and districts in Maharashtra, Hingoli, Parbani and Nagar. They were like 2 months campaign across the villages periodically, and I used my knowledge acquired from the ground movement and in Asha community to tell the Admin Reforms Commission what do they need to do to get their tech policy revamped and make it more suitable to the requirements of people. Obviously, my so-called intellectual work remained in the presentations of the Reforms Commission, and actual administration on the ground hardly used any recommendations. But still, it was a very interesting exercise to move the highest policy people to respond to the demands of technology, demands of ground reality. Still, doing this activism, I wasn't feeling that there was really a big force of change. I was always expecting a lot from the work and movement I did. I mean, if you see the models, RTI, Narega and the initiative happened in parts and bits and pieces, but it didn't sweep the country as such. I mean, if you just go by the merit of the concept that every poor household, underprivileged, is going to get 100 days salary, then there should almost be a revolt kind of a situation. But it didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? Because the movement was not able to stand to the challenges which the policy changes had proposed or had brought to the forum. So there were projects which were successful, and we at Asha can always pat our back when the projects are successful. But I was not happy about the projects being successful. I had lots of crowds at my office than normal Asha project considerations, but I was not happy. I was ambitious that that I can give speeches across the board. I can travel across the villages, and people should just revolt against administration and change the way administration operates. But that kind of impact I could not achieve through my fellowship. There were certain incidences where when administration was literally geared and attacked by people in spite of we being connected through IT and networking. I was searching what connects me to the totality of the situation. How does the governance culture change to further meet demands, and it starts serving the people? So that requires certain service sector culture in the governance. How do young people, communities connect and learn to use government in their social development in intelligent ways? Asha gives me $5,000 budget for implementing the project, but there is a administration sitting there. They might have like 20 times more budget than that. So why can't I use it in my social development? So questions like this made me search further, and as Aadhaar, which is a great reform enterprise the government started, and it was started by Nandan Nilekani, who was IT icon of India, which promised a different culture in governance and social activism. I was very energized and excited about the whole prospects which Aadhaar brought. So So this was about my initial struggle. Right now, I am working on Aadhaar-based action, how to use Aadhaar in the same projects where I was associated previously by just means of IT, and connect to administrations and even go beyond. So this part 3 is about Aadhaar and action. So I'll start. What is Aadhaar? Aadhaar is a 12-digit unique identification number, as we all know. Every Indian will have it in next 5 years. Already some 60 crore is the target which Unique Identification Authority has. It's a 12-digit number, the number against which your biometrics are taken and they are stored in the government database. So every time there is a issue of identifying a person, you can use your biometrics and validate on the database whether that person is you or not. So in government schemes and wherever the identification is required, it means a lot, because the duplication is not possible. The same person is registered in the system, he is known to the system, and he can be tracked by the system if there is application for doing so. So Aadhaar number brought in a new technology in simple but in a very face-changing way. There were a lot of problems about implementing Aadhaar. It's a very powerful concept, but when it goes to the ground and you're talking about giving Aadhaar numbers to 1 billion people, with the kind of bureaucratic culture we have in the government, it's bound to create a lot of problems. There were there was mishandling, there were complaints, but looking at the whole larger perspective, it still means a lot for excluded Indians. Uh, because it gives them a chance to get included in the system primarily through government, but government is not the end of the game. They can use it to connect to various people, even to organizations like us, if we need to identify the people who are getting benefits from Asha. So Aadhaar will serve as an infrastructure tool to target the exact beneficiary for the delivery of the social financial benefits in all government programs, and facilitate the programs like direct benefit transfer. I'll come on the direct benefit transfers later. It's quite advertised and hyped thing at present, because the present government is saying that it's a game changer for the next elections. So it's already politicized a lot. Uh, although Aadhaar sounds like government programs talking about the same Naregas and RTIs again and again, its basic role is creating, rather not creating, just enriching the soft infrastructure. If there is a infrastructure like Aadhaar, anyone can develop the mobile applications which can use Aadhaar and offer the services to people. So the mobile applications and technology was meant for only privileged people, urban people. That kind of notion was there, but it's not anymore. With advent of Aadhaar, there could be mobile applications for even the backward people, and there could be a social model, business model for that. And human creativity is the only limit. I mean, you can think about the application and connect the dots and offer the services. So to use the jargon, Aadhaar ecosystem becomes a key for underprivileged section to get included in social governance processes. So virtual world, technology, mobile phones, services, all this which was for the privileged sections, it was a America and Mumbai thing, has gone down deeper in the society, and we should as Asha as an organization should strongly use that resource to further our cause. Then how will Aadhaar work? Aadhaar is just identification. You go with your biometrics to the database and put your fingers there. It will just say yes or no whether that person is you or not. But why does it matter so much? It's like Aadhaar enables the application providers to provide several variety of applications. So once the person is identified, there could be the app for Narega. I mean, I can pen the scenario that I have a cell phone and I write to administration a text message that I need the work. Administration replies me back that such and such work is allocated on such and such site for next 20 days. So it can be simplified as much if there is some serious work on design. These kind of applications could be revolutionary, what we call killer application in IT sector. These applications, once they are popular with people, once they are usable, they are going to form the system on which Aadhaar wants to create, and the system which the excluded people can use for the inclusion. So the benefits of various schemes will be directly transferred to people through direct benefit transfer. I talked about Narega, but there are several other schemes. I mean, if you go through the government document, there are like 50 acronyms about the schemes and things which people never even know. So you simplify it, make it usable, bridge the information gap, bring in the service culture, then some things start going. The other thing Aadhaar has brought is it has brought in the banking inclusion. Because of the kind of infrastructure created, now you have the last mile banking services providers which who have the micro ATMs, and there are banking correspondents appointed in the villages who can deliver the benefits even in cash to your doorsteps if you are eligible for that. So all this information infrastructure game becomes a good targeting for the social benefits which are to be given to people. At the government end, it's a reform exercise. It doesn't allow the corruption and leakages, and at people's end it's easy services. So it's a win-win kind of a situation if that change is taken seriously. So where is the change? I am taking example of schooling. So what could be the application? Student scholarship programs for various financial needs can be given through Aadhaar apps. There are no intermediaries, there are no brokers, there are no local politicians trying to harass people. It happens smoothly. Aadhaar based head count is being undertaken. There are pilots, I know, that you can, in a school you can have Aadhaar based head count. So if you look at the whole year or so, that head count will give you the real picture of what's happening there. I mean, for me, the applications like this solve the purpose of Asha site visits. So if you want to see what's happening there, it's easy. You have the data available, you have the information available. Things can be tracked. Aadhaar for social auditing for midday meal schemes. So I'll not get into detail of each application because the discussion will be endless. So Aadhaar can be used in schooling. Now I have been talking about this Narega. Aadhaar can be used for Narega application, direct benefit transfer, last mile payment for the laborers who are working on ground. Then similarly there could be Aadhaar driven systems that can do the social auditing of Narega. They can track what's happening out there. Then Aadhaar for tapping the demand and creating a social networking struggle with the administration. This last point is what I have been doing in my ground activism. Aadhaar can kind of pass on the leadership to my juniors, because they would have information resource in hand which doesn't need somebody iconic or somebody well known to go and attack the administration each time. They have a strong basis for struggle. So Aadhaar for tapping a demand. Narega is demand driven. Unless you give a demand to government that we want job, they won't give you, and at the end of the day government says nobody demanded the job and we didn't give them. So Aadhaar can be used to tap the demand. We can just like right now in our ground projects, people are just writing the Aadhaar numbers in Excel sheet and forwarding those to government and saying these are the people who are unemployed. They don't have the sophisticated usable software every now and then, because the app systems are not yet developed. It will take a total 3 to 5 years so that the entire application system around Aadhaar develops. Now I'll come to our grassroots Aadhaar campaign. Asha has undertaken Aadhaar campaign initiative in Maharashtra. The blocks Mokhada and Jawar in Thane district, where we have been working for a few years now. Asha has done, it was a area where, tribal area where children were malnourished, and every now and then this area is discussed in Maharashtra Assembly, newspapers, for the children's deaths because they didn't have food. And this is like heaven for NGOs. where they can make huge money because people are poor, but nothing gets delivered. Last 10 years of my activism, I am hearing the news from there, and nothing has improved much. So we started a campaign there. We have been doing work against malnutrition, connecting it to education. That's this is our this year's work and our project as well. Uh, uh, so these very backward people uh, want to progress, and they want to connect to the outer world. And whatever initiative Asha has taken there has gotten huge responses. But we have to go beyond that, and we have to make administration do things which they should be doing and we should not be doing. Our role is as a catalyzer, as we say in our vision statement. We have to catalyze the process, not just keep on doing the same thing on the ground and be happy about how successful our projects are. So we are trying to move. I mean, so what we are proposing is, and what we are doing right now is campaign that every student has Aadhaar and every villager is getting registered for Aadhaar. Our local social movement is demanding the direct benefit transfer services from block level administration. We are telling them, I mean, we hear from media, we hear in the strategy rooms that such and such things are available for people. Then why are you not doing it? So I go to the block level administration. Block is a cluster of few villages, and tell them, why don't you implement all this? Why are you waiting? It takes like 5 years. When something is approved in Delhi as a law, it comes 5 to 10 years to come the whole thing to the ground. I mean, we as an accelerator can probably make it faster. So we go as a social advocates to the block administration, arrange meeting with them, arrange demonstrations, exchange information, do social networking, create a thought debate with them, and ask them to not just fulfill our demands. We are asking them to change the way they are doing things. So that kind of platform Aadhaar has allowed us to tell them, now Aadhaar has arrived, why don't you reform yourself? So that wasn't available till then. So creating Aadhaar information basis of villagers as a community resource, training young men and women from communities. This is what we are doing. Creating information base and social apps. We are still working on it. Creating information base and social apps which are easily usable for community as well as government officers. Basis of agitation, negotiation to overcome the lack of Aadhaar based services. Create social advocacy groups to negotiate with block offices for faster adoption of Aadhaar reforms and change the design of way they work. Campaign extensively type of networking with social organization and make them aware of Aadhaar. We are partnering with several social organizations in those 2 blocks. Creating Aadhaar based schooling programs and Narega partnership with administration. Study and get replicated successful Aadhaar pilot project elsewhere. Now, doing all this means any government schemes which looks different in a government office and which looks different in a village, they have to meet at some common point. And there has to be exchanges of information and money, and that's when I see that the whole effort has become a big success. So kind of settling the information gap for good is what needs to be done, and those experiments are being carried in these 2 blocks around Asha project. But who will do all this? We are creating Aadhaar social leaders who can do the same old things in new ways. He or she is the networking person of the unidentified and excluded people in the communities. His tasks are to create awareness, serve as a community networking route for the services till Aadhaar brand is established and everyone starts availing the things on their own. then that person has to make his living also. He cannot be supported all the time on Asha dollars. So he has to learn along the way and find ideas and opportunities of social entrepreneurship in the Aadhaar ecosystem. And Aadhaar ecosystem has to be developed by young people, techies who sense the opportunity, young social leaders, political leaders trying to grow by inclusion of more and more people in their programs. So I'll give 2 minutes to my colleague from he's a young man working in villages as a grassroots activist on Asha projects. He will in 2 minutes say what he's been doing on Aadhaar there.
Thank you, sir. Hi, good evening, everybody. I am Chetan Wak. I am an Asha grassroots activist. We are working in the Mokhada Taluka, Mokhada blocks in the Jawad, Mokhada block in Thane district. Here is we are working with Narega Net, Health, Education and Employment. We are Harsha told already about the Narega. I have not taken much time on the on that issue. So I am looking that in the but not taken much time. I am looking in that side in the of that project. Why lacks of knowledge? In the inside of this why lacks of knowledge in Narega. So because of the local political parties and admin staffs that do not we are implementing there is a Khilwadi project which will increase the personality development of the tribal areas. Everyone knows the tribal areas is the more difficult and challenging areas than urban and rural. So we are taken that there is a IT literacy camps. We teach the youth to the IT enable and we teach the basic computer knowledge and Aadhaar, how to use the Aadhaar and what is the uses of the Aadhaar. So that's it, that is the scenarios, all the things happening in Mokhada. Okay, just wait.
Yeah. So he wanted to speak. He's like working on ground and goes from door to door talking Aadhaar in Marathi. So young people like him who are ready to take up the cause to people are very important. They actually carry the agenda to people and finally achieve what we are aiming for. Now, what Asha can do for Aadhaar? Asha volunteers can introduce and promote Aadhaar in all projects they are associated with. Asha can consciously create space for services for underprivileged to be implemented and start leveraging government resources for funding other resources requirements, just not money, other resources also, by creating new Aadhaar branded social networks. We can simply say, I mean, there are many things we are doing and putting in our money. We can make government do that if we are aware of how to make it happen. So a team of Asha volunteers can develop support the development of Aadhaar social applications for individual and collective action by people. Say for example, M-Narega social application which allows you to request and get work on text messages or catches the database of unemployed laborers that becomes basis of initiating new projects. That will be a great game changer at ground level. So we have to find the social applications and develop them, or get them developed from someone and implement them on the grassroots. I mean, small social applications I am talking about. Or we can create our own support a child software in schooling, where multiple agencies including government can network to implement the program, and Aadhaar can be a validator there. So Asha can, because the kind of organization we are, there are various things we can do about this whole Aadhaar things. So one is promoting and advocating Aadhaar. Second is creating the space for services. Then developing applications and implementing them on ground through our projects. Then then what we can do is we can select a one block where we can focus our energies and create a Aadhaar based model of inclusion. It will take around 2 to 3 years to work there to get that kind of model on the ground. But if we do that consciously, we can probably showcase and replicate and scale the model. So that is one way of doing things, because we have so many chapters and so many volunteers doing different things, but we could concentrate on one block if we want to. I was discussing with Rajiv, and there was something called innovation at scale. So this is what innovation at scale is. So then Asha volunteers can participate in collaborative effort to create Aadhaar Wiki for social movements and break the knowledge sharing barriers. Nobody knows what's happening, and especially social movements are the last ones to know what all is coming. So I say that those knowledge barriers can be broken through wiki-like collaborative efforts. So all these ideas which I am proposing, there has been some work done on them by my teams, and there are some proposals which they have created, and they are looking forward to go further on those proposals. So all these things, if you want the details, you can email me and I can send you the documentation and the whole concept papers for all this. So I mean, in given time, I have explained what Aadhaar is and what services it's going to bring to poor, and how is it going to affect our work, how is it going to change the face of governance as been hyped and discussed in media. But is that all? Is there something beyond? So as an activist throughout the journey, I have been always looking what's beyond the proposition which I have at my disposal. So I see. So Aadhaar is all about governance. Yes, it is. It brings transparency, accountability, and efficiency to the government system. But it's about governance. But beyond that, it's more about inclusion and mobility, which are very two powerful concepts in today's social movements. It enriches our soft infrastructure. Without that, social development will never happen. That's how I see. If there was no infrastructure within Asha, it's quite informal, it's not formal, but then I would have never developed myself so much to go to the policy and strategy level of social issues. It triggers digitization, electronification of many things as it grows. That's a very value creating thing. It creates the basis for new systems to bridge the digital divide. The information and knowledge divide, as I started my presentation, information and knowledge divide is a very basic problem in the whole system, and Aadhaar is one strong means of addressing it. It reaches across many sectors of economy and society beyond government, so it has a potential to go across beyond government, and people can use it. There are in other sectors, telecom, banking, there are so many applications Aadhaar can have. So, we are apolitical secular organization, we always say, but I'm using a phrase here, I politics for inclusion. What we are thriving for is inclusion. So Aadhaar is a beginning of that I politics in India in the era of new media. Virtual world is becoming the means of inclusion and mobility. And that's a very welcome change. I mean, if we are finding some force to change the things, it has to have the virtual connection and amplification, and without that, just by doing ground agitations, India is never going to change. Uh, then youth who is connected to multiple real and virtual communities, uh, the one who uses his knowledge and creativity for wealth creation is coming to the forefront of leadership. These are young people. India has demographic dividend and everything we talk about, but they are coming to the forefront. We have to create a space for them to take over the leadership. It matters more in developing country like India, because other than these, whatever means we have, they have a very limited outreach and impact on social development. Aadhaar can have more impact if it is adopted well by the social movements. Uh, it is more needed when the market experiment of 2 decades is lagging behind and falling. If you see the news, you see that India is falling off its story or growth curve, and we are searching for new ideals and not go back to the old and defeated times. We started last 20 years, we have opened up, liberalized, for good or bad, it had both effects, but we cannot go back to the earlier period. We have to look forward, and whatever has happened in 20 years might not be just sufficient. It might be just one experiment, and there could be something unknown in the future. And initiatives like Aadhaar give you a space to probe into that unknown and find the future of the Indian society and politics. And the last and effective conclusion of the whole thing is, India's political slogan in 70s was Roti Kapda Makan. That is where we use the term underprivileged. We don't have Roti Kapda Makan. In 90s, we started believing that its infrastructure, Bijli, Sadak, Pani, if we initiate, it's going to help the billion people, and it's going to pull them out of poverty. And now that slogan is becoming Aadhaar, bank account and mobile phone. So every young person, if you ask them what do they need, their way of entering into the system is their mobile phone. India has the highest after China, but one of the largest mobile phone stats we have in India. We have like 80 crore people having cell phones. Then bank account, everybody needs money, and then Aadhaar to access the systems which are around us virtually. So, this pretty much this slogans reflects what is changing in India, and our project have to go back and the work Asha is doing has to link with all these things happening since last few years. So we can create our own models. That is what I am thinking right now. Thank you. Pradeep? Hello?
Yeah, see, Harsha.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions here?
Yeah, you can ask the questions.
Okay, go ahead. I'm not sure if there is an easy way.
Yeah, and my email address is there on the first page of the presentation. You can always email me any questions. So yeah.
We have many
Yeah.
questions and ask questions, so I'll repeat it, but I'll let me
Yeah.
know more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Harsha, I'm not sure if you could hear that, but the question really is, how is the Aadhaar system actually being used at the last mile, in the sense that, you know, the Aadhaar system is actually being created, but how is that really being utilized by the villagers or by really the end users in like say NREGA or any other amenities?
Yeah.
You know, how does it actually get used?
Yeah. I mean, what we are doing in Asha project, the initiative I just said in the presentation is we have got many people, I mean almost everyone in the villages to get Aadhaar numbers. But there are no applications as yet which are functional from the government side. There are no biometrics in villages which are being used for getting the NREGA payments on the last mile. I'm talking about the villages where Asha is actually working. So what we are doing right now is just have a collection of Aadhaar numbers and forwarding it to government and just negotiating with them that all the benefits you are delivering should be through this identification number in your databases. So we are right now working close to the government, but yes, the last mile benefit in terms of actual validation of Aadhaar has not really started in the villages where we are working. There have been experiment of banking correspondent. Banking correspondent came to Asha projects and showed us how to validate Aadhaar and give the cash for the wages, etc. But there are no applications fully functional as yet. So last mile benefit is through awareness right now. So technology is not yet seamless and it's working. I'm not going to claim that. Yeah.
So I think with NREGA, if I understood what Harsha is saying correctly, is your wages actually get directly deposited into the bank account. Is that right, Harsha? So when you do work,
your wages are directly getting. Oh, you are asking in general how does the concept work? Yeah, the wages are directly getting deposited in your account. That's one. Second, the banking correspondent comes to the actual NREGA site and he validates Aadhaar and gives the cash payment to people. That's the second way of doing the things.
I mean, this is to
cases
of police corruption where
it can work both ways. Yeah, am I clarifying the question or am I confusing more?
Yeah, no, Harsha, hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
We had one more question. Hello, Harsh. This is Amrish Garg from Princeton chapter.
Hi.
So here is my question. I understand that Aadhaar-based applications will allow for money to be deposited directly into the recipient's bank account. But correct me if I'm wrong. NREGA is supposed to be a mechanism or a project through which individuals will be assured of certain days of work given by the government, for which payment would be made. So how do you ensure? I mean, there is another loophole. One is that money gets siphoned off and doesn't go to the individuals. The other loophole is the work is not done and the money just goes to the individuals. How do you ensure that the work is actually done?
So there is a social audit thing called social audit in NREGA. So social audit is the villagers can check what has been done under NREGA. There will be audit team in every village and that conducts the programs to assess whether work is done or not. So that is the social watch on the whole thing is the solution. But then using technology, you can simply have a muster roll which is Aadhaar driven. I mean, you can simply take the biometrics of attendance of every person, just like we have in offices. So if it is made very easy and it's not cumbersome process, a person can simply come to the work and I mean just give his biometrics, and it can be tracked how much he has worked. But as for the real effect of his work on the ground, I mean, technology can always be manipulated at the end of the day, but if it is led by community, if community uses that technology, then the scope for manipulation and fraud is very less. So there has to be a social audit system which has been created in Narega, and Asha has been very active. We are arranging a social audit in Narega in the blocks where we are working in next 2 months or so. So, but if that audit is technology enabled and there are Aadhaar applications for audit, the audit will go on continuously. So, all in all, there will be very less chances of manipulating the system. But your question is right. Even if the entries are made and person doesn't work at the end of the day, what does it mean? So on that side, I mean, the whole work proposal which is created by the supposed to be created by the Gram Panchayat, by Gram Sabha, has to be audited, who has worked and who has not. So once there is a public pressure, that solves many questions and gives many answers. Technology can be accelerator and it can give a leverage and connectivity.
Do you have any other questions?
Hello?
Yeah, Harsha, we're just checking to see if there are any other questions. Folks on the call, do you have any questions? Okay, looks like there are no further questions.
Okay.
So thanks a lot, Harsha. I know there ended up a little bit of a confusion and
yeah.
You.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
Thank you. I mean, I would have liked to be physically there, but maybe I am coming after 7-8 days, so missed the conference basically. So I would have loved to be personally present there and answer the questions. I'm doing Asha a virtual conference after a long time today. So it's been fun talking to you and feels very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's